This debate comes as Iowa prepares for a new face to lead the state. Governor Terry Branstad is the longest-serving governor in American history. Tonight he is on the verge of changing jobs after being picked by President Trump to become the next U.S. ambassador to China. I sat down with Branstad at his office in Des Moines to find out what he thinks he will be able to accomplish in his new role. This is a story you'll only see on KSFY. Terry Branstad was one of Donald Trump's earliest supporters, and the advice he would offer Trump during campaign stops in Iowa focused on China.
And I used to always tell him, don't say anything bad about China in Iowa. We sell them a lot of soybeans, we sell them a lot of pork.
Many were surprised to hear of Branstad's selection to become Chinese ambassador. But the governor is no stranger to the international political puzzle involving this Asian superpower. He is also no stranger to the man who leads China's government, President Xi Jinping.
We met when he came here on April 29th, 1985. He led a delegation, a small delegation, 5 young men from our sister state of Hebei, and we met in this office. We took a picture behind this desk.
Nearly 32 years ago, Xi Jinping visited Iowa. At the time, he was a county-level politician, and Branstad was serving his first term as Iowa governor. As political fact-finding missions go, it was fairly simple. The Chinese delegation wanted to know about American farms, and Iowa was the place to come. But Branstad and Xi Jinping formed a fast friendship back in 1985, and their communication has continued ever since.
The president of China calls me an old friend because we treated him so well when he came here as a young man.
This last November, just days after Trump was elected president, Branstad was in China on a trade mission, meeting with Xi Jinping, when word got back to him that his name was being floated as Chinese ambassador. Just a few weeks later, Branstad was in Virginia attending a governor's conference when he got the phone call that would change his political career.
And I get a call from Donald Trump. And he says, there's 13 people who want to be ambassador to China. It's the most sought-after ambassadorship we have, but I think you'd be the right one for the job.
Branstad was intrigued, but he knew he would have to convince his wife, Christine. He wasn't sure if she would be on board. The two of them went to Trump Tower in New York to meet with the then president-elect to discuss the position.
At Trump Tower, he just looked my wife straight in the eye and he says, you want to do this? And she said yes, and then he says, you've got it.
Branstad's nomination still needs to be confirmed by the United States Senate, but Branstad is already thinking ahead to what he wants to accomplish in the role. A lot of it centers around the Midwest ag economy. Branstad wants to increase sales to China of soybeans and pork. He also wants to sell American beef to the Chinese, but he knows that will be a challenge.
I think there's great opportunity for that. We also want to get it reopened for beef. China right now is not accepting beef because of mad cow disease. We're trying to get that reopened. We also want to, certain traits of corn have not been approved by the Chinese government.
Branstad also sees another opportunity involving China's population. By 2025, estimates say 1.4 billion people will live in China. And as that population ages, it could provide a little thought-about opportunity for some American companies.
Companies like Principal Financial Group want to do their, and there's an aging population in China. It's a natural place to market their retirement products. So I've been working with them as well.
But before Branstad can work on building new bridges to China, he may have to mend some old ones first.
There's some real friction between our two countries, and there's some real concerns about the new administration.
And a lot of those concerns center around the man who offered Branstad this opportunity in the first place.
Mr. Trump said some things about China that are not very well received over there.
Branstad acknowledges there are those who question President Trump's tactics and methods. But the governor tells me he trusts the president and says if he didn't, he wouldn't have taken this job.
Remember, he's a businessman. He wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. And at the end of the day, I think he really does want to make a deal and enhance trade with China. But it has to be something that's going to be good for America.
Branstad tells me he will miss being the governor of Iowa, but adds it is tough to say no to a president's request. Branstad knows he has a lot of work cut out for him.
There are a lot of opportunities, but I guess I learned on my first trip to China, the Chinese word for danger and opportunity is one and the same.
Branstad also tells me he sees great opportunities to boost tourism in his new role, hoping to entice more Chinese visitors to come to the United States and vice versa.